Now that you're sufficiently angry,
We should
you want to talk about Death in June?
Oh, sure. What's up? Before you get into the autistic deep dive on whatever band history this has that I
It's going to be
super don't give a fuck,
autistic.
well, then don't even bother because I don't care. Here's my point.
Well, no,
If you
no.
want to
Okay,
talk
there's a
about, well,
broader
let me
point.
just lay out my argument
Yeah,
before I
go
waste a
ahead,
bunch
go
of time doing a
ahead.
bunch of autistic shit. Okay? People that are hunting around for symbols and Ukrainian Nazi shit, I super don't give a fuck. You need to show real anti-Semitism. It can't be a band patch. It can't be an SS login waffle lightning strike thing. It can't even be the SS. I just super don't give a fuck. Show me anti-Semitism. Show me anti-Semitic laws. Show me hate crimes. Whatever you have to do. I need to see something beyond like band patches and Nazi whatever bullshit symbols. That's my position.
Yeah, I think that's legitimate. And I'm going to be like ultra charitable here because I'm not a dumb fuck lefty. And I'll say that like even with Death in June, there's a lot of reasons why artists might use Nazi imagery that doesn't necessarily make them Nazis. So like the obvious, like the super autistic debate is that there have been, decades of people arguing about whether or not Death in June is a Nazi band or not. And I think if you dig into the history, like I don't know if I would say that they're Nazis, quite frankly. I think probably the correct term is like national Bolshevist. But I think that there's this like second question, which is how should we respond to Ukrainians having like the occasional bit of fascist imagery? And it is really scary to me when people will like get into these rabbit holes going back and forth on whether like this piece is actually Nazi imagery or not. There's just been like an insane rise in anti-Semitism. And I think that by minimizing some of this Nazi imagery and saying that like it's not Nazi imagery, I think it's a little ridiculous, especially because the band is specifically invoking Nazi imagery intentionally. They're not like, they know where these things came from. Death in June is a reference to the Night of the Long Knives.
Sure, yeah, I don't care. This is my guess. My guess is going to be that the biggest increase in the biggest presence of anti-Semitism in the world, if I could point to one group, my guess would be it's probably Muslims. And most of the people that are crying about fucking Semitic imagery that's being used by these guys or Nazi imagery are all simping for Islam anyway, and probably all hate Israel or whatever. Like, I super don't care. It's the most pearl clutching. Even if you want to walk out with swastikas, I'm just at this point I'm beyond giving a fuck. Show me real anti-Semitism. All of this stuff, I feel like people forget. There's nothing wrong with a swastika. There's nothing wrong with a symbol inherently. It's supposed to be a proxy for other ideologies. Where there's smoke, there's fire. If somebody's wearing a whole bunch of weird Nazi symbolism and all these Luftwaffe whatever the things, then fine. There could be some problematic things there. So then show me the anti-Semitism. Where is it? If we see the smoke, find the fire. And time again, I'm pretty sure it was like the only country in the entire world who's like president and vice president besides Israel had like had Jewish people there. Find me the anti-Semitism. If it's just going to be like autistic quibbling over like, well, fascist imagery is making its way into different armies across the world that might blah blah. Like I just don't care. You can argue about it if you want, but it's not enough for me anymore. I don't care anymore about that type of. But if you think it's problematic, that's fine. But I don't think I can be persuaded anymore for that.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is that like the minimization of fascist imagery is anti-Semitic.
Okay, then I'm anti-Semitic in that way, I guess I would say. I'll just bite the bullet on that.
It's like, that's fucked up. Because I think that like when you look at these bands, a lot of people who are drawn to them are people who are just like level one thinking. Like maybe like the creators of these bands are like these big brain, like satirists or whatever. But a lot of the people who are like following it are attracted to it specifically because a lot of the songs and the album covers and the merchandise like does glorify this imagery and kind of water it down. And I do think that we need to be careful.
Then show me my guess is going to be that if you talk to most Jews in the world, my guess is going to be that their biggest concerns for anti-Semitism, my guess is going to be is in this order, top three things. One is going to be far-right extremists. The second is probably going to be Arabs, okay, or Muslims. And then the third might be really far left extremists in some area. But like Ukrainian soldiers wearing patches, like again, where is the... So I guess here's a question before we hop back to the autistic analysis of all the symbols. Do you think there is any significant or even insignificant anti-Semitic presence in Ukraine? And where is it?
Yeah, no. So I talked to the Ukrainian Anna about this a little bit on Twitter, and she's super cool. And one of the things that I told her is that I'm pretty frustrated with the the kind of smearing of Ukrainians as Nazis. And the more I've learned about Ukraine, the more frustrating this accusation has become, especially because it's used to justify Russia's invasion. So that is like that. But the thing is that fuels my simultaneous frustration with kind of minimizing this imagery. And like you had this like take about like dog whistling, which is you just need to be like, you know, whatever, that's bad, move on. You shouldn't like get like bogged down in these kind of back and forths. And I feel like the same thing applies here, where you should just be like, yeah, it's bad, like don't use that imagery. But like, listen, people, there's never been an army in history that didn't have like racists within it. That's just something that has happened. And I don't think that that's like an indictment of Ukraine. And I don't think that means that like they're unjust in defending their country.
Sure, I don't know what all of this is just super. I don't care about Ukrainians, and I don't even care about their country. I don't care about that right now. What I'm asking is there an anti-Semitic presence in the Ukrainian armed forces?
Yeah, so what I just said is no, and I think that this smear is really frustrating.
Okay, and then who cares what they have on their patches?
Stephen, that's what I'm saying. But like when you say like, oh no, it's actually from this band that is like anti-fascist in origin, I think what you're doing is like you are getting bogged down in this back and forth about like actually caring, when what you should say is like it doesn't actually matter, right?
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Yeah, makes sense. Destroyed. Okay, get fucked, Destiny.
Okay, be careful, buddy. Oh yeah, it's you guys are the same. You're all the same. It's all good. I'm used to this, a world of sheep. That's what you all are. I don't think Ayla or Destiny can bond with another person on the same level as most normal people do. But that's not a bad thing. It feels like that's the reason why they have some trouble understanding how monogamy works, despite showing a clear understanding.
Arsenal, Pepe, Left, Holland, Destiny.
That's why either of them can't understand why it will hurt your SO if you get a from a random person in another city, even though I said I understand why. I don't think they can feel that level of bond with their partners. Okay? The comparison to friendships is very telling too. Then I respond, I don't think you can bond well with people because you are obsessed with controlling your partner's time when you're not even around them. See how you can flip this any way you want? -26. Good one.